It's 1892 in Exeter, Rhode Island. Your community is being devastated by a wave of tuberculosis so vicious that many folks believe there is something darker going on. Something supernatural. There are whispers of vampires being the cause of this plague, and the neighbor girl, now dead for 10 years, is being dug up out of her grave as the alleged culprit. This is the story of Mercy Lena Brown and the vampire panic of Rhode Island. Welcome to Ghost Binkers. Hello, Junior Binkers. I'm Trev, and I really want to believe in ghosts, and I try so hard.
I'm Killian, and since it's just me, I believe in anything today.
Whoa.
Now I believe in ghosts.
Oh. Am I supposed to be the skeptic then?
No, I'll be the skeptic too.
Okay. Together, we are the Ghost Binkers, and on our podcast, we explore real-life spooky stories and haphazardly debunk them with zero credibility.
Oh, no, I so far I've 100% credibly debunked everything we've addressed on the show. Everyone on the show has agreed, zero binks.
I would call it a light binking, so to speak. So this episode, we are going to be talking about Mercy Lena Brown and the vampire scare.
That's a great name to have for sort of vampiric scares.
Mercy Lena Brown.
Just to have Mercy embedded in your name somewhere when spooky things happen.
Lamborghini Mercy.
I suppose.
Lena Brown so thirsty because she's a vampire.
I think we had different ideas about why it sort of worked.
So, Killian, you and maybe some of our more clever junior binkers out there might be wondering where Brett is tonight. And I was also wondering the same thing, but I actually got a message from him. So I'm going to read it, and that will hopefully explain where he is right now. Dear Trev and Killian, I was so inspired by our episode about the Phantom Hitchhiker that I went to find him myself. I know the story said he appears in cars, but I thought maybe if I dressed like him and tried to hitchhike on Route 44 too, maybe he would come say hi or want to collab. If not, then he clearly doesn't exist. Well, apparently I was too convincing and someone picked me up. He was skeptical that I didn't have red hair, but with how many other stories are floating around, he just chalked it up to being one wrong detail. I'm still in his car. He won't let me leave until I do the laugh and disappear, which obviously I can't do. We've been driving pretty slow and steady for the past several days, and I think we're in Nevada or something now. I don't think I'm going to make it to the pod tonight. I honestly don't know when I'll be back. It really depends on if I can get away from this guy. Good luck with this week's binking. Respectfully, Brett.
Brett's trapped in a car with infinite gas. It's never needed to gas up ever. He's just still going.
A Prius.
You think it's a Prius with like a solar panel on the roof?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, tonight we're empty nesters.
Yeah.
We've never done this podcast with two people. It's kind of scary, but
I know. I'm more worried that we're more susceptible to ghost incidences.
Yeah. Well, because ghost two on one with a ghost.
Oh my God, but also we describe two men is the ghost attraction combo.
Oh no,
we're gonna end up going to prom with a ghost.
Oh no, that's the last thing I need right now.
We don't have tuxes.
We don't have tuxes. No, I'm not prepared. Funny though. This episode's about vampires, and we just watched Sinners last night. And there are two men, Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan.
I was gonna say there's one man, but I guess that to be fair, two men
playing two men.
No, that's fine.
Smoke and Stack.
I think you should say them in that order.
I think I'm probably Stack.
You think you're Stack?
I think I'm probably Stack in this one, and you're probably Smoke.
You think I'm Smoke?
You're a little bit more calculated and competent, and I'm more like loose and like down to clown.
I guess if you say so. That's me pretending like I didn't desperately want to be Smoke. I'm like, yeah, I guess. I guess I'm the cool one. I guess I'm like the bad boy of the group.
Great movie.
I had a great time.
This episode is sponsored by Sinners and Ryan Coogler.
Shout out to Ryan Coogler. Ludwig
Göransson. Power combo of the century.
Has anyone reported like a vampire haunting in the U.S. like in the past 20 years even?
In the past 20 years?
Because I feel like
I don't know.
You could be like, oh, Mothman, he buzzed my car the other day. People would be like, what the fuck? But if you were like, I saw a vampire, they'd be like,
I saw Dracula.
Okay. It's like the only place you have to be like near a sort of like a hotbed of voodoo to get away with zombie stuff.
Okay.
But you couldn't be
that
like in Nebraska and be like, a zombie came out of the cemetery. They'd be like, shut the fuck up.
But I think we should change that. I think that's something.
That's why I think we should fight a vampire.
Okay.
Because I think they were one of the hardest things to bink.
Yeah. Well,
Because you have to wait like 7 hours if you want to really bink it.
Oh,
Like we stab a guy.
Is that how long it takes for them to turn?
Well, the sun. Oh, so I'm saying we stab a guy in the middle of the night, then you have to wait till the morning to find out if you've murdered someone or not.
See if he disintegrates in the sunlight, and if he doesn't, let's.
I guess we should have spent that 7 hours running away.
On that note, let's get into tonight's story about Mercy Lena Brown.
Take it away.
So this story is actually brought to us by 2 articles in one. I made them kiss.
Okay.
I took them and I said, now kiss.
I thought they did it. And I was like, why would who's doing this format where they're like, we're going to put 2 articles together?
This article is written by Trevor Lena Brown, featuring Killian Lena Brown.
Okay. We all sisters.
So this is mostly from the Seek's Ghost blog by Virginia Lampkin. And I sprinkled in some extra details from Gary Sweeney of The Lineup.
How have we never had a regular name on the show? Virginia Lampkin and Gary Sweeney?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gary Sweeney is probably Sydney Sweeney's dad. That's my guess.
I'm gonna leave every joke on the table there. Just keep going.
Sorry. My narrator, my narrator voice is going through puberty.
You need like a binker phrase to get into it.
Hello, binkers.
I'm scared.
I'm gonna pee my pants. In the 1700s and 1800s, New England was ravished by consumption, a new term for tuberculosis.
Can you be ravaged for 200 years straight? Like I get it, but like at some point you're dealing with it. It's endemic, I think.
That's true. Also, not to criticize Virginia Lampkin, who seems to be a sweet old lady.
Okay.
And I don't want to offend her by
calling
blog,
her
right?
old.
Yeah,
so she's not like a historian.
No.
She just has the most female historian name of all time, but is not a historian.
Correct.
Okay.
I would have really loved, this is just a little extra bonus points if she wrote it like this. New England was consumed by consumption.
Oh, you like the double. I would like it if she went to the library and checked out a history book and then kind of double checked, make sure it was
she
good.
did. I didn't check to see if she has sources.
I feel like 200 years of consumption is a pretty big. What the fuck is the book called? The Edgar Allan Poe one about consumption.
Oh,
the Red
Telltale Heart?
No, that's just the only one either of us knows.
That's the only one that has a heart.
Fuck, what is it called? It's not. I'm getting a text from my wife. It's the Red Death.
The Red Death. Okay,
yeah.
So that
Mask of the Red Death. Is that what is it fucking called?
The Mask of the Red Death. First published in 1842.
We've been ravaged by tuberculosis for 142 years.
Pretty much.
I'm not saying it wasn't a big deal during those years. I'm
sure
just saying
there's
other stuff going on.
Yeah. Families watched as their loved ones died a long, painful death. This illness left its victims gaunt, flushed, and with sunken eyes. Relatives stood by helpless as the ill coughed and coughed. I think the delivery, I kind of like took some of the heat out of the delivery because if it was the ill coughed and coughed, you know.
Yeah. Also, gaunt, sunken eyes. Sounds like my ex-wife. All right.
Whoa. I don't know how your current wife feels about that. Doctors were unable to help. So I guess that kind of like justifies why like the 1700s to the 1800s, like doctors back then didn't know what was going on.
They were worthless.
I don't even know, what is a 1700s accent?
I was going to say, it's probably like, Like it's got those weird AE sounds. I was gonna say that
very sky.
Doctors back then were too busy fucking aura farming with their bird masks to fucking solve any crimes or solve any murders.
They're just standing there. They have like their little cloak on.
Yeah,
but they're holding it with their hands and they put their hands out like bird wings.
Imagine if you went to the current doctor's office and you were like, "Yeah, my like shoulder's been bothering me," and then he just like loomed over you with a giant bird mask,
saying nothing.
Yeah, smoke billowing out of it because he has like herbs burning in there.
That would be kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie. I also like
hype moments for my doctor.
I went to do a 1700s accent, and the first thing that came to mind was just like a 1920s mid-Atlantic accent. Yeah, and I was like, just have yourself a cool sarsaparilla.
Yeah, I've heard the accent, but I've never practiced it, so I can't like do it. It was more closer to British, I feel like, probably than it is now.
That makes sense. People described this illness as literally sucking the life out of its victims. Entire communities, fearful and ignorant, began to rely on superstitious beliefs.
The doctors couldn't do anything. They weren't that ignorant. The fuck do you want them to do?
No, the doctors were ignorant as to how to solve it.
I'm saying, but the people weren't. Like, you go to the doctor, he's like, I got no fucking clue. You're not ignorant for being like, all right, let's just fucking try some weird shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're probably going like, here, put this dirt in.
I think you should take vitamin A. That'll cure your consumption. Have you tried cheating on your wife?
Well, actually, common cure for a lot of ailments back in the 1700s.
Men got that shit wet.
Most came to believe that evil forces were at work. A widespread belief took hold. New Englanders began to blame what they called the Walking Dead.
Okay, copyright. Watch out.
They just watched the show and the show made them sick.
We think that Rick is here.
They watched the same plot repeat over and over every
Verily,
season.
if only Michonne would save us. I also am just doing transatlantic now. Fuck.
The Walking Dead as the reason for their loved ones dying. It was stated these evil entities moved among them at night and sucked the life out of the living. The term vampire was not used, but this is what the superstition was based on.
I feel like vampires were a thing in Europe for like quite a long time before this. So why did we just like... Some guy couldn't remember. He's like, fuck, what was it called?
Yeah, what is that? Remind me, the guy, he bites your neck.
He was like from the
blood.
Czech Republic. He's like, we dragged up a grave and we burned a body, but what the fuck did we call it?
Was it Drac?
I don't remember.
Draxon?
Count something? I don't know.
The most famous New England vampire case involved a young woman named Mercy Lena Brown. Her family lived in the small village of Exeter, Rhode Island.
Oh.
It is funny to hear, like, because Exeter is a place that still exists today.
Yeah.
It's funny to hear them call it a small village.
Yeah, it's also funny to imagine that she lives in Carindale, Exeter, and she's like in the shitty Kmart that closed 10 years ago or whatever. Also, Mercy Lena Brown is like the most Georgia name I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
right?
that is very
That's
Georgia.
like Southern Belle.
Mercy Lena Brown.
Oh, Mercy Lena Brown, look at you. Big sharp teeth and all.
Beginning in December 1882, the Brown family began to die from consumption in rapid succession. I like the idea that it's just the Brown family that's being targeted by consumption. Also, what else is new? A Brown family being targeted. Oh, got him.
Also, you know, how rapid the succession here. Come on.
Well, I'll explain. First was Mary Eliza, Mercy's mother. The following year, Mercy's sister, Mary Olive, died at the age of 20.
Mary Olive Oil? What the fuck?
I like that.
Popeye, help me. My lungs are falling out.
They're both named Mary.
Well, yeah, no, I know. Mercy's also like one letter different from Mary if you try hard enough.
That's
you know?
true. I feel
we're
like
already we're in the area.
Maybe the dad had like a thing for Marys or something, and he kept wanting to name every girl Mary.
There used to be I feel like a lot of name rules, you know, where you'd be like, we name all of our girls Jennifer, and then the middle name is Sally Mae, and then we call them by this other name we came up with. Like they had more like thing, whereas now, you know, you just name them Braylon or whatever.
I'm getting a text from my wife that
the peanut gallery, as I call them.
They just call her Mercy Brown.
Who's they?
They leave the Lena out. Locals.
I'm yelling at you because I'm not going to turn and yell at your wife. Locals shouldn't talk about this anymore. Keep this shit under wraps.
They have like a beer called Mercy Brown.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I told you that as soon as a business interest becomes involved, I get like the binks start falling off rapidly for me.
Start binking extra hard. Okay, where am I? Here we are. Mary Olive died at the age of 20. Okay, this is a little confusing because it just says Mary's obituary described her suffering as having been
3.
I don't know which Mary we're talking about, but I'm gonna assume it's Olive since we just talked about her death. Mary's obituary described her suffering as having been so great that she was ready for the afterlife. Next, Mercy's brother Edwin, known as a big and husky man, began to wither away.
Okay, man, I don't know. He was so fucking fat. No one could believe it when he didn't look fat anymore.
He took Ozempic.
They told him it was worth it.
He quickly left New England for Colorado Springs in the hopes that a better climate would cure him. That is some very old-timey medicine
Honestly,
logic.
he's trying something. I gotta give him something.
You know what? He's
Instead of
trying.
dying like a bitch, like Mary Olive, okay? Just laying there.
It's probably
giving
cold. It's New England. It's the wintertime, I think. It's cold. He's like, I gotta go. Colorado Springs doesn't seem like it's much warmer.
What is Colorado? Where is that?
I guess
In Colorado?
Colorado.
No, I know, but am I going to be stupid for saying that, which is my concern?
It's in Colorado.
Okay. It's in Virginia. I look like an asshole, you know? Did we have Colorado back then?
I think so.
1800, early 1800s? When did we get Colorado? There's so many history questions on this episode.
Colorado Springs, though, I am looking on the map. It does look like it's not really mountainous right there.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like the mountains probably would be bad. But if he's not in the mountains,
It's
he
not
might
a bad.
be okay.
Look, changing the climate is actually kind of not a bad instinct, right? If you're like, something's wrong with my lungs, I'm going
Yeah.
to see if I can breathe easier in a different place. I think that's like a totally fair. I went to Florida.
fair.
I went to Florida, and my asthma felt better from the swamp fumes, I assume.
I have another update on our information request. Colorado became a state in 1876.
Oh, so you're just wandering into unclaimed territory?
Well, this is 1880 something.
Oh, okay. I thought it was earlier for
so
some reason.
it's a pretty new state.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That Colorado is all the rage. Oh,
we killed all the Indians who lived there.
I can't do another voice. By the time Edwin returned a decade later, Mercy herself was on the threshold of death.
Who's Edwin? What?
Edwin, the brother who went to Colorado Springs.
I thought he had tuberculosis. He banged that shit out for a decade?
I guess.
Sounds like it helped. That's
did.
crazy.
It must have helped.
I guess they didn't say how long everyone else was sick for, but I assumed you were like cooked.
Yeah.
Shout out to Edwin.
Yeah, no,
Solved it.
Congrats, Edwin. Well, unfortunately, he did come back.
Well.
And Mercy was on the brink of death.
Oh.
She had been suffering from a more silent form of consumption for years. Galloping consumption. Named so because of its fast transition from invisible to fatal. So
they call it galloping because it's...
Because you can like run around probably.
But it's invisible for a long time.
Yeah.
Terrible name. You got to think of a better... There's got to be stuff that gets slow to fast faster, better.
The cheetah
They could have called it like ninja consumption. I would have been like, okay, that makes more sense because it pops up on you. Assassin's
that
consumption,
would be,
you know, something where it's like, okay, but you're just like galloping.
Basically,
like a really loud horse, except for it's quiet first, but then it becomes like a really loud horse.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually the full name of it. Basically, whoever created this this consumption in Plague Inc. on their phone, the little phone game.
Oh yeah.
They
took
the Trev strategy of make it extremely contagious with no side
Trying
effects.
to get the spread first.
Get the spread. Everyone has it, but it's like, it's not a big deal. And then whoops, it killed you.
Yeah, it's funnier if you just put all the poop ones on. Make people poop themselves and get farting disease and stuff. Then it's the funniest kind of disease, you know.
That is a good.
Who cares if everyone gets infected if you made like 800,000 people really sad for an afternoon?
Just ruin.
You ruined the engagement proposal.
You ruined their commute to work. An attending doctor informed Mercy's father, George, that medical care was useless. I like the doctor's like, hey man, honestly, medicine not gonna work.
It's funny because he's saying it like, oh, medical care, but he means me. He means I'm dog shit.
Exactly.
I'm useless.
He's like, yeah, sorry man, my hands are tied. I don't know what to do.
George, I'm sorry, I'm a fucking bozo.
In January,
also he's wearing a fucking bird mask and smoking.
So then
he stretches out his big pluming cloak and he's like, yeah, I can't do anything.
So did that just sound like? Yeah, sorry, George. It's absolutely useless for me to even try to do this.
Yeah, she's gonna die. Sorry. That's all he's got.
All that built up.
George is like, man, he sucks, but he's fucking got high aura. He's sick, dude.
He's so dripped out.
Yeah, he's tough.
In January 1892, Mercy died.
I don't know why I laughed at that. Sorry. I'm sorry that poor girl died.
Her simple obituary reading, Miss Lena Brown, who has been suffering from consumption, died Sunday morning.
Her name's not Mercy Lena, it's Mercy Space Lena?
Yes.
I thought her name was Mercy Lena, all one word.
No.
What the fuck?
It's Mercy first name.
Middle name Lena.
name
and
Lena.
they call her Lena, so yeah, they call Mary Olive.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. Except for this article saying Mary died. So maybe that was the mom then.
I think she didn't want to write Olive. I think she was embarrassed.
She wrote Olive one time.
Virginia's a sweet old woman.
Enough.
She was like, I can't call her Olive. That's so mean.
That's a food.
Yeah. But also, George, not really a writer, I guess, huh?
Yeah, do you think he's the one who wrote the obituary?
I'm assuming Mercy Lena must have written all the other obituaries for the family that were like nicer. And he was like, yeah, my daughter died. I don't know what she likes. He's a dad. He's like, I don't know. I never really talked to her.
She had consumption.
I hope the Cleveland Spiders do good this weekend, you know?
Because so many Browns had succumbed. That's a loaded sentence. Because so many Browns had succumbed, Exeter residents suggested to George Brown that his family might be cursed. Furthermore, they surmised that one of the Brown women was not actually dead, but rather undead and feasting on living tissue and blood of Edwin.
Did they have a reason for doing that? Like, what do you mean they surmised?
They assumed,
Yeah, I'm surmising something. I think you're the devil. Like, okay, man.
They were like, you know what? First it was Mary, then it was Olive.
Everyone who's right near each other got sick. Weird. Anyway, it must be the devil's work.
Right, because they were all close enough to the vampire person.
People who are all breathing in the same cough.
Sucking in a cough, coughing it out into the next person.
Yeah, fucking Einstein over here is solving the crime.
So basically they're saying that somebody is eating Edwin.
Edwin's alive, right?
Yeah, but that's why he's like...
They think he's
like
slowly getting
withering.
Okay.
He's like... He was a robust fella.
10 years ago, he could have just fucking lost the weight.
When he went to Colorado
That's
Springs.
what I'm saying. There could be more room to run out there.
He went there, he got swole.
Yeah, this is crazy.
It's a hot new
It's been
place.
10 years, brother.
I've heard Colorado Springs is all the rage.
It became a state 6 months ago.
Yeah. They believed that the key to Edwin's recovery would be to figure out which brown woman was the culprit and destroy
Also,
her body.
the dad is still alive. He's not stealing the blood of his kids. All of his kids have died. If anyone, it seems like he's killing all his fucking kids by sucking all their blood out. And they're just like, can't be a man. It must be an evil woman. Like,
of course. Well, do men bleed once a month?
this is like 1890. They had like fucking... They're reading Upton Sinclair's The Jungle. And they're like, the meatpacking industry. Wow. And then they're like, anyway, a spooky vampire girl is trying to kill me.
I also, throwing it out there, Virginia, the use of brown woman is just... it gets me every time. I can't not laugh at that.
Women of the Brown family, Virginia. There's your alternate sentence structure.
The neighbors asked George Brown's permission to exhume the bodies of his wife and 2 daughters to check for fresh blood in their hearts.
What did he say?
Would it surprise you to know that he agreed? And
What a fucking lunatic.
The exhumations took place on the morning of March 17th.
You want to dig up the dead body of the person who meant the most in the world to me and just kind of desecrate it and, on the belief that she might be an evil vampire sucking out my fat son's body. Okay, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, rip my wife's head off. Who gives a fuck?
If I've learned anything about...
the fuck is wrong with him?
About 1800s, like...
It's like 1890.
Investigations.
This dude probably drove in a car to ask George if he could rip his wife's head off in the grave. Like, come on.
They love desecrating dead bodies.
Crazy.
They did it to Lizzie Borden's parents. That's just how they investigated.
My lord.
The exhumation took place in March 17th of 1892. After 10 years in the ground, Mary Eliza Brown and Mary Olive Brown were little more than bones. But Mercy had only been dead a few months. And in wintertime,
God fucking damn it.
When her body was uncovered, there was almost no decomposition.
God fucking damn it. These people are so fucking stupid. Holy shit.
The neighbors took this to mean
my
that
God.
Mercy was the offender.
The other people had been dead for 10 years. And they were like, she looks a lot better.
She just she was literally like preserved in the frozen ground.
It's been like 2 months.
It's been 2 months and she's been in a freezer basically.
Like, oh my God.
a global freezer.
She could just be a graceful decomposer. Even.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you could be a slow goer.
Some people, you know what they say, black don't crack, brown don't break down.
That's pretty good. You got there. Yeah, no, they'd say that.
That's just,
I'm going to say that to some people and see how they react.
Brown don't break down.
I feel like they're going to also think I'm talking about black people and not the family of brown women. The family of the women of the Brown family.
Wait, do you think these are the same people who started Brown University?
It's possible. I also don't feel like this family has the money to start Brown University since they're dying of consumption in a shack in the woods in Exeter.
It also was founded in 1764.
Colleges are so fucking old, man.
That's crazy.
What is it? Oxford's older than like the Aztec Empire, I think.
Is what?
I said what I said. I meant what I said, motherfucker.
Now I have to look that up.
I'm getting the sickest knot of all time from my beautiful wife.
Okay. You know what?
I'm being agreed with, and I like it.
I'm gonna blindly go along with it.
I think it's the Aztecs, but I think also they're a little bit later than you think, the Aztecs.
That's fair.
Like, look up when the Aztecs started.
Okay.
Because you have the computer and I don't. I can't do this.
Aztec start. When did the Aztecs start?
Aztec reign. I don't know.
They started in the 12th century.
Yeah. So yeah, but Oxford's like 1170 or some shit like that. Oxford's so early.
Okay, let's see. 1096?
Yeah. Crazy, dog.
What?
There were dudes ripping out people's hearts, and they were like, "What a wonderful book I've read about the laws of the Magna Carta. I'm going to write a thesis about it."
I feel like they didn't even invent education until like the 1300s.
1096, brother. That's when education started.
That's crazy. Wow.
I think you should read this book, mate. That was Oxford.
I feel like my entire worldview has just been shattered.
That's crazy.
One of the doctors on site noted that Mercy was well preserved. Her heart and liver were removed.
They were removed during the exhumation.
Yeah, not
they were removed beforehand.
When
it would have been weird. That would have been a weird thing to know if it had fucking happened.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Also, I love that he was like, I can't do anything. He's like, oh, I can fuck up a body once you dig it up. I can cut that thing up like crazy. I'm not going to help anyone while they're alive, but I'll rip them to shreds once you pull them out of the ground.
Her heart and liver were removed. Upon cutting open her heart, the doctor found decayed blood. An examination of her lungs indicated the dormant presence of consumption germs.
Yeah, likely place for those both to be. She was a dead person.
In a frozen
ground.
And
she had old blood in her body, and also she had the disease she died of in her lungs, man. That's called dying.
Nevertheless,
they also found that she had a skeleton inside of her. Like, yeah.
Oh my God.
It's called having bones.
She's full of bones.
She's a skeleton warrior.
Oh no. Nevertheless, neighbors were convinced they had exhumed their vampire. They burned Mercy's heart and liver on a rock.
Okay, I feel bad. I went kind of hard on the doctor, and it sounds like he was like... It sounds like he might have thought that was normal. I feel like I went after him pretty hard. I think he thought it was normal and no one else did.
Oh, okay.
I think he was like, well, there's like dead blood in the heart, and also she's got the thing she died of in her lungs. And they were like, no. They're like, burn it. That means worse even.
Burn it.
Yeah. All right, so doctor gets a pass if that's what happened. Sorry, doc.
Sorry, doctor.
No one could. He was explaining 1800s. That she wasn't a vampire, but no one could hear him through the Aurifarm mask. He was like, "No, Harry didn't do it.
Oh yeah.
Harry didn't do it."
They're like, "You gotta burn it," and he's like, "That's not gonna."
That's totally normal for a body to be.
I don't know what you're saying, so I'm assuming you're agreeing with me.
Look at him. His beak is shaking with excitement. He's so ready to go. I also don't think doctors wore that anymore, which sucks. Doctors they gotta bring that back.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up too. When
that was Black Plague, man. That was like 1400.
Yeah, okay.
I'm afraid. Although maybe they might have been consumption masks or some
17th
bullshit.
century.
Ooh, okay.
17th and 18th century. So
okay,
a little bit late.
But America was lagging behind because they had to come on the boat, and so we were still doing old Europe shit for a while.
News hadn't traveled across the pond.
We are getting dangerously close to like the Red Sox existing as a baseball team, though, and so I feel like you can't have Aurifarm, Bird Doctor, and the Red Sox at the same time.
Why is there no like plague doctor team in the MLB?
It'd be too sick. Everyone would be like that team instantly.
All the teams that are
I would rock a fucking forest green plague doctor jersey.
That would be kidding me? I'd watch baseball just for that team.
Alternate color, dark purple.
We need a Rhode Island team, the Lena Browns. The Lena Browns, and they wear plague doctor masks.
I can't believe her name is Mercy Space Lena Brown.
Yeah. Speaking of...
That makes it a little less Georgian, honestly.
Okay, that's fair.
Mercy Lena, one word, is Georgian.
Mercy Lena, get your white ass down.
I can't do that voice. Almost didn't respond to you, and I held off.
Speaking of Mercy Lena Brown, they burned Mercy's heart and liver on a rock and mixed these ashes with water and had Edwin drink it. In an attempt to reverse the symptoms of his supposed vampire attack.
Why did they do that? What made them think that would work? Like, even if you think she's the vampire, why would you be like, well, obviously you got to drink her heart and liver? Like, it's...
Maybe it's like is it like a reverse vamping? Like, the vampire feeds on you, so you must feed on the vampire?
Do they think... So, they dug up the body from under the ground.
Yes.
And the dirt was not fresh dug dirt. Because she had been under the ground.
She had been under the ground.
When did they think she had last done vampire stuff? Because... she's been in the ground.
I think they were thinking that she was like rising from her grave,
why was the dirt
going back?
Why was the dirt not disturbed at all? She's got grass growing over, and they're like, she must have found a secret other way out. Like, what do you mean?
She did one of those little cartoon things where she just cut a little square of grass out and just.
I don't know why I'm accusing you. Like, you are these idiot villagers thinking of this stupid theory.
Well, I guess I do have to play the non-skeptic.
I thought I was supposed to. I did announce I was going to at the beginning.
That's true.
It sounds like Mercy's very spooky, scary.
I will say this is one where I think it's just very clear that Mercy was just a girl who died of consumption.
Some guy was really happy to cut up the body. It sounds like so. Good for him, I guess.
So Killian,
how old was Mercy when she died? Did we know?
19.
Okay.
Would it surprise you to find out the ritual failed? Edwin died within 2 months.
It would have been funny if he died within like 30 minutes of drinking the ash water, like just like clearly choking to death on thick, goopy ash water.
He's just like, oh, my tummy doesn't feel so good. He's like puking up blood.
Yeah. Also, at no point in digging up a dead 19-year-old who must have weighed like 68 pounds, where they're like, maybe this is stupid. Maybe we're doing a bad thing here.
I know, it's just like I don't know what they thought that would accomplish.
Because like if the Edwin, who's the brother, who I keep thinking is the dad, but is the big brother, if he had died and they dug him up, at least it's like he's a big monster man. He's a giant freak, whatever. But yeah, Mercy,
small
19. I assume she's tiny because she's been consumptioned into.
Oh yeah, frail, very frail, very gaunt, sunken eyes. I've heard.
Yeah, which also. Yeah, it's fine. I know that vampires are connected to corpses, but like, why would you? If you think she's doing it, why would she die?
Yeah,
wouldn't she stay alive?
No, that's actually like,
why are they like, oh, she died because she's back? Or I guess they thought she died and then came back.
Well, yeah,
but Edwin got sick 10 years ago, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Their timeline is a little bit off, I think.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you're scared and ignorant, things just kind of come to you and you believe them.
Even with world-class medical care, they were still scared,
World-class bird doctors. The remainder of Mercy's violated body was buried in Exeter's Baptist Church Cemetery. Mercy's body was among many in New England that were desecrated in this fashion, but her story, like the others, does not end here. Oh, this is where we come in.
Now I'm detecting some spookiness on the horizon.
Her spirit has been restless ever since. Over the years, people in this small community have reported strange sights and sounds.
I have to interject with how ridiculous it is to be like, look at these idiot, ignorant fools desecrating a corpse. Anyway, her spirit became a spooky lady spirit. Like, unlike those idiots, I know that the real danger was her ghostie coming back to life.
I will admit, the irony is not lost
Vampire?
on me.
Never heard of her, but she is a spooky ghost from hell now.
Vampires? No. Ghosts? Yes.
Does the ghost like cough? You'll tell me about the ghost.
Yeah, I'll tell you all about the ghost.
I hope she coughs. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, once again, I think your idea of a ghost is way better than the actual ghost.
You're sleeping in the old Brown household, after you bought it and renovated it, and you just hear from the corner of the room like, what's that fucking sound? Is my cat okay?
And then you see little puddles of blood.
Little drops of blood appearing.
Little droplets of blood.
What the fuck? You wake up, your eyes are kind of sunken. You're like, what the fuck?
Oh, you look in the mirror and you're gaunt.
Yeah, no, instead we'll get to a ghost story and they'll be like, someone knocked over a lamp.
And I don't have a cat.
I know I left the cord hanging, but I normally don't trip on it, so it couldn't have been me. And you're like, okay. Convincing, bud.
Okay. I have some conflicting information here.
I'm shocked.
These two articles
are usually foolproof.
These two articles are fighting each other. According to Virginia, her body is buried in Chestnut Hill Cemetery in Exeter. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe the
name changed.
Yeah. Residents and visitors report seeing strange lights in this cemetery. Witnesses who have stood on graves in this cemetery state that something unseen shoved them off of these plots.
That's so funny.
Which, like, who is standing on graves?
Me and my 19 hammered friends. One of us fell off a grave.
Why are you standing on a grave?
Because they're teenagers and they're like, No, I wasn't grave robbing and partying. I got pushed off a grave by the dead ghost of Mercy Brown.
Mercy Lena Brown. Yeah, that, you know what, that one's a little off. The strange lights,
Also, graves aren't like the sturdiest thing to stand on.
Yeah. No, I like, just because they're a stone doesn't mean they're just kind of like, you know, they're not
just,
that deep in the ground.
They're not that like depthy. Like they're shorter than your foot. So if you stand on a stone, you're like not balanced well anyway.
Yeah. We've had a couple of articles that have talked about lights, like ghost lights.
Because ghosts do orb stuff.
But I don't know what they mean when they say that.
I know.
Are they colorful?
I know.
Are they white? Are they just white lights?
Also, why do they do that? This is gonna be a reoccurring problem for me throughout this show, which is wonderful. That the people will say ghosts can do things, and then you kind of like ask them why.
Yeah.
And they don't even have like a fake, because it's fake anyway. So just make up a fake explanation.
I got you.
Because you'll be like, why can ghosts become a light? And they're like, because and it's just be like, oh, the soul interferes with UV rays. I don't give a fuck. Just make something up.
I got you. It's residual energy.
Okay.
That has come from their body.
Okay. Why is it visible?
Why is it visible?
Because like I can't see your energy. You don't glow.
Because it can shift throughout the spectrum of light.
Okay.
So there's like the electromagnetic spectrum.
I actually liked it when you said the word wrong first. I think you should be like the electromagnetic.
The electromagnetic spectrum.
Yes. Keep it ghostly, you know?
You know, that's when they're controlling the radio and stuff like that, and speaking through static and all that.
I hate the radio control.
They can shift towards...
Everyone who listens to the show knows goddamn well I hate the radio control.
If I'm remembering my science textbook from 6th grade correctly, I believe the
ghost section of your science textbook.
I believe the electromagnetic section is on the left.
You turn past baking soda volcano and you're like, whoa, a ghost.
You move towards the right, towards the visible light.
Okay.
That is where they're manifesting as a light orb.
Okay.
And then there's the UV part where they are...
The ghost is it's breaking my tattoos down.
Yeah,
they're
making you tan and giving you a sunburn. So yeah, they can shift through the frequencies of light.
They can control that?
Yes.
Do they know they're orbs?
I would assume so.
Okay.
That's the thing too, is like, I don't have answers for all ghost stuff.
I'm asking you because you're here.
But of course. And I have as many answers as I can give you.
Yeah, we should get like a 70-year-old ghost professor here.
We should get someone who actually like knows more about ghosts.
Yeah, I would feel a little comfortable doing this to them.
I'm sure you could bink them in a way that doesn't make them feel bad.
What if they're arrogant? I have to take them down a peg, you know?
I thought you were gonna say, what if they're Arabic?
That'd be sick. He'd talk about a cooler ghost, probably, you know?
That's true.
I feel like at least other cultures, I'd be interested to learn what they think, as opposed to like, I know all the the New England ghosts.
That's fair. It is. I guess it is a little bit harder.
A racist man died 100 years ago. I'm like, oh, that's tough.
It's a little bit harder to bink another culture because like they just have a whole different set of experiences.
I want to do the Chinese ghosts that are like the fortune teller ghost spirit tags and stuff.
Yeah.
I want to do the big tall lady in Japan who like tries to cut your head off if you say she's ugly or whatever.
Oh yeah,
that shit's sick.
We will definitely get to those.
Yokai.
We're gonna branch out and we will at some point become Mr. Worldwide.
I'd also like to find the most boring ghost story in the world. Like what country's ghosts are just like the shittiest.
I think we found that, and that was the person who went to the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast and had bad dreams.
The person who started by being like, my ghost story, so I was asleep. And then when I woke up, I remembered a spooky thing that happened while I was asleep. It was kind of like a dream. And then just said that to like I assume a newspaper is crazy.
Other residents have come forward to state they have seen Mercy's ghost walking around the community. Those who have offered prayers for Mercy report afterward smelling the scent of roses, which I don't really understand that. There was no indication that
Does she have a connection to roses?
Mean anything with her.
Does the community have a connection to roses? Is Exeter like the rose capital of Rhode Island?
I guess, are they saying like, because roses are something that you would place on a grave, that it's just like, is she buying her own roses?
I have no fucking clue. Can ghosts make smells now? They move through the spectrum of light into smell?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is because they can manipulate.
And also, do they pray for Mercy when they see her, or do they just pray in general and they smell roses like after?
That's actually a good question.
Okay.
I would be curious to know if people in Exeter just really love Mercy, and
it sounds like they said she's around the community, which to me feels like she shows up at like bake sales.
Or like baseball games.
Yeah.
The Little League games.
You look up in the audience and a woman who's like coughing up blood is like, thumbs up. And then you just crush a home run. And then she's gone when you look back and you're like,
this one's for you, Mercy.
thanks, Mercy. As you're rounding home plate, you're like, roses.
Roses.
And also, that kid who threw up 2 games ago, they just swept into the dirt.
It's just poured sawdust over it. Apparently, that's a very effective technique for cleaning up puke.
Well, you want to suck up the water, and also you want to cover the smell.
Yeah.
Sawdust does both those things.
Oh.
So shout out to Ghost Bakers. If we go Ghost Baking, we got to bring sawdust for the puke. That's going to happen. If one of us gets Exorcist-style possessed and pukes everywhere.
Ectoplasm. I'm sure
Ectoplasm.
You could suck up with sawdust.
Oh, God, I would love to find some ectoplasm out there in the world.
Mercy's spirit is known to visit members in the community that are about to die. Relatives have encountered their loved ones in earnest conversations with Mercy, hours or even minutes before they pass.
Okay, we're going to get there in a second. Is this the first ghost we've had with a job?
Yeah.
She's got a role?
It sounds like she loves her community.
She's giving people she's throwing roses in people's faces.
Inspiring
she's talking to old
baseball
people.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. So I'm proud that she's putting herself to work from beyond the grave.
I think she just she really loves her community.
Yeah.
Maybe since she was buried without a heart and liver, she is in purgatory and does have to atone for that.
He definitely has to apologize for the sin of dying as a woman. Why does she love her community? Because they did dig up her body and like chop it up a bunch and call her an evil vampire, and they made her brother drink her ash water.
Those are all very
Which, if
valid
she's a ghost, I think they
concerns.
would probably see that. Like, I feel like they would know that, and they'd be like, "Why did you make my brother drink ash water?" Or maybe she's just glad that everyone who did that is dead, so now she's like chill.
I think
She's like, "Thanks for not making my brother drink any more ash water, man. Here's some roses."
Yeah, I think maybe she just like doesn't want anyone else to experience something bad. So she's like, I want to be a comfort
talk
to
to this
people.
person for the
I'm gonna
day.
talk to
Also-
this person, turn them into a ghost too.
If you're dying, I think I want the person to talk to me, my family member, and not some other ghost.
Mercy is like stealing their last minutes.
Yeah.
I wanted to say I love my mom,
Yeah.
but Mercy was talking to her.
We didn't get
and
to
I
apologize for the fight we had because she was talking to Mercy the fucking ghost about what it's like to be a vampire and about the bake sale last week.
And the baseball game. Yeah, so hours or even minutes before they pass, she's there yapping.
People who are famously
Yapping.
very normal right before they die.
Very normal, very cognizant, coherent.
yeah.
They know everything that's going on.
No one ever says any weird stuff before they die.
It appears that Mercy's spirit is a kind soul who doesn't want to see any more graves desecrated. She also exhibits compassion for those who are about to die.
That's why she pushes the teenagers off the grave.
Yeah,
she's like,
'cause
stop fucking desecrating.
disrespecting the graves.
You're like, is that roses?
Do you think she had a Rhode Island accent?
You put out a pot of coffee milk for fucking...
Let's have some coffee.
God.
Today, people often leave items on her gravesite.
What?
A wish is these items be respectful and not a joke because ignorance labeled her a vampire. That's the last sentence of that article.
The wish of who? Virginia? You?
The general wish.
Yeah. Of the but then no one would leave a joke. Also, what joke are you going to leave the woman?
A whoopee cushion.
Okay.
Obviously.
I guess like vampire teeth.
Oh, is
that cruel?
That's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
I think that would be one that would be frowned upon by the community.
She's dead. Whatever. What are you going to do? Have a little fun. She's dead. We killed her. God killed her, and we just desecrated her corpse by cutting out her heart and liver and burning it and making her brother drink it.
That is the end of the Mercy Lena Brown tale saga.
Yeah, so that's good. She's nice. And she makes you smell, I guess, unless you don't like roses.
Oh my God, what if you're allergic to roses?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask that if that counts as like a ghost assault.
You will have an allergic reaction, but in the spirit plane.
Yeah.
So like your spirit will be having an allergic reaction.
Yeah, I can appreciate that the ghost stories on display were like nebulous. I like when stories are nebulous because then I can't get that mad at you because you're just like...
It's kind of like endearing.
I thought I sensed Mercy on the wind.
Yeah.
A cool breeze blew and, it reminded me of Mercy. And it's like, okay,
it's like,
you didn't know this woman. It was 100 years ago, but, I guess it's nice. Why does she like this community? Under what possible pretense could you think she likes the community?
I would just assume, based on her actions.
I would like you to read the part where they dug up her corpse, cut out her organs,
burned them, fed them to her brother,
mixed them with water. They didn't even mix it with like iced tea. They didn't even put they didn't even try and to hide the taste of the beverage. They were like, you need to chocolate milk. They were like, you need to mostly taste the ash, and then they dumped it down her dying brother's throat. He's 10 years post tuberculosis diagnosis, and they're like, first of all, crazy rhyme.
I was going to say that was
holy shit,
spitting bars.
Yeah. And they just made him drink his sister's dead body.
Yeah.
And then she was like, what a fucking great community. Rock solid.
She said,
they did that together.
She said, I don't want that to happen to anyone ever again.
So I'm going to reward the community with rose smells.
So I'm going to rose smell people so they hopefully never think to do that again. They'll be too busy smelling roses and being happy and letting me talk to their dead relatives.
If I were Mercy Lena Brown, I would become a vampire after I saw that. If I could. If I had the power and I saw people try and kill me, I would be like, I'm going vampire mode now. I would grab a corpse. I would vampire it.
That's fair.
Maybe my sister. You make them think what if they killed the wrong sister?
You think it was
what if
Olive?
Actually, what if Olive was like, I'm going to look a little fucked up, decomposed. And then they were like, good. And then she slurped back a little bit. Climbed out of the dirt, kept sucking Edwin.
I honestly think it was George.
That's a great point because, again, the investigative powers of people back before 1900 were not great.
No one even attempted to ask him what have you been up to?
He wrote a shitty obituary for his daughter.
Yeah.
All of his family died, and he's just around apparently. Mm-hmm. Crash out, George. Go nuts.
And he also just rolled over when they asked to desecrate his entire family's graves.
He did approve it
and bodies.
So I think George could be. I just don't like George as a vampire because it's not cool.
That's fair. But also, Edwin, was that the brother?
Yeah, you got it.
He was good until he came home.
Yeah, and then had to drink. Honestly, I think he probably might have died of feeling really bad about drinking a bunch of dead body.
Yeah,
I think that can't be healthy.
No, I don't think. I wouldn't prescribe that if I was a doctor.
Especially because they looked in the heart and they were like, oh, fucked up, rotted blood. All right, let's burn this up and feed it to somebody.
Now, to their defense, I would think the fire would make it okay.
I assume, but I have no clue.
But also,
I don't know tuberculosis science, frankly.
I wouldn't recommend drinking ash water.
I think also lady vampires are cooler than guy vampires.
Yeah,
I think guy vampires are kind of gross,
kind of lame.
Where lady vampires is spooky.
I saw Nosferatu. I get it.
You're in a Count Orlok.
They're gross.
Orlok.
They're gross.
Orlov.
No,
you think it's gross?
I'm saying
okay.
Male vampires kind of suck. That one took a second. Hold on.
Breaking news.
I'm getting
about Mercy Lena Brown.
I'm getting a spooky paranormal message from beyond. Fun fact: there is a flower called Mercy Rose. So maybe that's why.
Type it into the computer though. Find me this flower. Is this like the state flower of Exeter?
I'm just getting horny images of Mercy from Overwatch.
I don't believe you. You have to show them to me.
I'm not seeing a single Mercy Rose.
I think this is based off your search history, frankly.
Is this a prank? Am I being pranked by the great beyond?
Did you type in flower?
No.
Plant? You got to use a modifier word here. This is ridiculous.
Let's see.
You typed in Mercy Rose Rule 34.
Okay.
You're like, there must be a rule about 34 of these flowers somewhere.
Okay, there is a Mercy Rose. It's a deep magenta red turning crimson. It has a strong fragrance. And
are you reading the alt text?
Got medium green foliage. The height is about 43 inches to 4.25 feet. That's pretty tall.
That's like the vine. It's not the flower. It's not a big 4-foot flower. For the listeners at home, just FYI. I'm not impressed by how long your stem is.
I mean, I was, but...
Well, it's a bush. It curves around, right? It
that's true. I forget that roses are more of a bush than
like roses.
I don't know anything about roses.
Is it in Exeter, this plant?
There's the ghost is telling me that there's not really any other more information about that. So...
Is it named after her or something? Is it connected to her in any way?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, that's,
Also, I can't get this out of my head right now. It's very stuck in my brain. Lena is just a lima bean. It put together. Lima and bean put together.
Oh, it's like okay. You kind of have to flip the bean part around a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like if you just like kind
Jumbled it together.
Like what I did with these 2 articles, you just made them kiss. Lena.
Like a bean. And that's been in your head the whole time.
About 10 minutes.
Okay. That's a long time.
So speaking of 10, we have a Bink scale that goes from 1 to 10. And we have to figure out where on the Bink scale this lands. 1 is fully binked, no ghosts. 10 is unbinked, aka bonked. Ghosts are real.
Yeah.
In this case, as the ghost wannabe believer, I feel like some of these experiences that people are having with Mercy's ghost, the vampire shit, total hoax.
Which is funny because like that's the shit that's the most interesting.
Yeah, but
that's the coolest part of it. Is
but we know
the Ashwater shit is crazy, and they did that, and that is fucked up and weird to do.
It's so trash. It's not even a good. It's not even good logic. 1, the ghost experience.
Can you imagine proposing that? You in a crowd of 20 villagers, and you're like, "Oh, the heart and liver," and you're like, "We should burn that on a stone." And then someone's like, "Yeah, we should make Edwin drink it." And you're like, "What? Excuse me?"
I think Edwin's just like,
and Edwin's like, "No, I don't think. I think we shouldn't do that." And they're like, "Yeah, Edwin should drink it to cure the curse." And he's like, "No, I wouldn't like to do.
I don't want to drink my sister's ashes."
Do you think he had to like protein shake, hold his nose, and like?
Oh, absolutely. I think they might have had to hold him down, if we're being honest.
You think they tube fed him his sister's ashes? That's tough.
Ghost experiences. I'm gonna say like a 5.
Crazy high score.
I'm gonna say
unbelievably high score.
A 5 or a 6. Because I think part of the ghost experience is what you make of it. And if you're on your deathbed and Mercy Lena Brown comes to you and she plants a little kiss right on your forehead.
Yeah,
that's a great way to go out.
Yeah, you should have other stuff going on in your head when you die. I think so. Counter to you, I think the vampire part, 10. I think that they got her. I think she was a vampire. I think Mercy Lena Brown was a vampire, and they got her. And I think also they cured Edwin, but they didn't know George was still a vampire, and then he got him. So actually, I think making Edwin drink his sister's heart and liver ashed up, mixed with water, cured him. Of the vampire-induced tuberculosis. And they were like, "Cool, he's good." And then 2 months later, George fucking sucks him out.
Sucked him up.
Sucks him out, kills him. So I think 10 out of 10. I think they killed the right girl. I think they got it.
I like that theory. Also, little branch off of your theory. Maybe he had the vampirism and they cured that, and the vampirism was the only thing keeping him alive.
That's true. Or maybe he just like, maybe the Virginia dementia, maybe he just like fell down the stairs. He was like feeling great. He's like, "I feel like $1 million bucks." And
we didn't say in the article why he died.
No, and so I choose to believe that it was because of his newly cured.
I assume George wrote the obituary for that one too. He was like, "Yeah, he died.
Fat son dead."
So, what do you think about the for the ghost part? Ooh. What would you say? What was on the Bink scale?
What was the minimum again?
1.
I guess my criteria is there's no business interest.
Yep.
And it seems like all of it is very like, if a ghost were going to do something, this shit is so boring that I guess it probably would be the kind of thing a ghost could do.
It's like, not very sensational.
A ghost could make you smell a breeze. I feel like maybe a ghost could appear only to someone who's dying because they're like close to being a ghost themselves.
Oh,
they're almost ghosting.
They're straddling planes, spiritual plane and physical plane.
I think she's just there to like show them the ghost ropes, as it were. So I'll say like a 2.
Okay.
But also every single one of those experiences sounds like someone just thinking of stuff.
Yeah.
Like you're outside and you're like, a rose.
Must be Mercy.
Must be Mercy Lena Brown. And you just like walk right by a rose bush. Anyway, I hope Mercy found rest after they fed her to her brother.
Me too.
Because that's fucked up.
And it seems like she did find a purpose in her afterlife. So I think that's good. And that wraps up this episode. And I want to thank all the junior Binkers for listening to this episode of Ghost Binkers. You can follow us on social media at Ghost Binkers on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok. Just all the main ones. Facebook sucks, so we don't use Facebook. Email us, ghostbinkers@gmail.com. You can share a story, request a story, argue with us. I mean, you can send us memes, whatever you want to do. Just talk to us. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Share this episode with a friend.
Yeah, next time you and your friends are gathered together exhuming a corpse of a young woman you think is a vampire, and you're about to burn her organs and feed them to her brother, be like, hey, I remember a podcast about this.
Yeah, and you can listen to it all together and maybe get some better ideas on what not to do.
You'll smell roses.
You'll smell roses. Links to the stories we read can be found in the Ghoulie Pops. I almost said Spooky Specimens. We're going to just go with Ghoulie Pops.
It was Ghoulie Bites.
Ghoulie Bites.
But the Pops, maybe they're popping.
Links to the stories we read can be found in the Ghoulie Bites section of our episode description. And lastly, thank you to the authors of these articles, because without you, we wouldn't have anything to bink. And so we appreciate you being passionate about this and writing about it and giving us a platform to make comedy. Unfortunately, at your expense. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, that's it for this episode. We will catch you on the next episode.
My
Boo.
Oh, God, I would love to find some ectoplasm out there in the world.
Is that just ghost cum?
Yeah. Or I always assumed it was ghost boogers because it's green as a kid. But
That's
then
fair.
I got a little older and boogers kind of grossed me out, so I'd rather it be cum, to be honest.
That's an interesting flip.
I didn't know we could say cum on this podcast.
Yeah.
Because you said succumb earlier, and I thought that was funny, but I couldn't laugh at it because I was trying to be serious about cum.
I mean, we say fuck.
Well, cum's different.
I guess.
Naughtier, you know?